Oh, RASA Studios. Man. What's up, everybody?
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
I was gonna say we got quite the crew in here.
Not the whole crew.
Yeah, we have quite the crew anyway. There are 22 of us in the team, so
Wow.
this is just a small selection.
Damn, that's pretty good. Well, let's get started with just kind of some intros and stuff like that. So you guys have been a partner for just a little bit of time, right? You guys got signed earlier this year. So yeah, I kind of want to hear a little bit about the team members that we've got on the line, and then kind of a little bit more about the studio. So let's do intros first, then we can talk a little about the studio.
Sounds
Shall we go
good.
alphabetically?
Sure.
Yeah, just top to bottom. Yeah. Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm the CEO, the big boss lady, pretty much. Tell people what to do. But mostly am joined by my lovely team, and really supported by them. They do all the hard work, really. I don't do too much. I do have to give them all the credit.
Dwitty?
Oh, sorry. Yes, hi. I'm David, and I'm one of the mechanics and game designers. Yeah, that's yeah.
Grant, you're up.
Go, Grant.
Yep.
Hit
I'm Grant. I'm one of the other Redstoners. I also do some build work. That's mainly it.
Cool.
I guess I'll go next. Hi, I'm Joey. I'm a mechanic and a video editor and can't build to save my life.
You and me
I
both.
feel that. I feel that life.
Hello, I am Jeremy. I am the artist for RASA Studios. So I'm responsible for those texture packs, and I train people to do models. But yeah, that's what I do.
I'm Oakley, and I'm a mechanic, but I try to stay outside of Minecraft and do like plugins and tools rather than anything actually within the game where I can.
You're not selling yourself enough there, Oakley. Can you?
I think that was quite good.
I'll take it. And I'm Andy. I'm the underboss. I think is the best. I pretend I'm the one telling people what to do, but really it's Chelsea.
Very cool. We got kind of somebody from everybody here, or somebody from every kind of role on the team here. That's really awesome. So tell me a little bit about RASA Studios. So how long have you guys kind of been a team? How'd you guys kind of get together? And then I know there's some cool stuff you worked on in the past, and we can touch on that a little too.
Yeah, so we spawned off of the Nux crew. We kind of all met because we were part of their community 5 years ago, pretty much now for most of us. And we got together to spin off their Nox Crew game show, made our own version, and kind of just stuck together as friends and decided last year to kind of get into the marketplace and see how that would go for us. And now this is it. Jungle Royale was our first actual proper map, and it's just been such a great process. But yeah, these guys are, best friends. We're friends at heart.
That's awesome. So you said there's 22 people? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so there's 22 of us. I think it's spread across 6 countries.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty intense.
That's cool. Do you know what 6 countries, just out of curiosity?
Oh, let's see if I can name them all. We've got the UK.
Oh, you've got to know.
I've got to know. We've got the UK, we've got the US, we've got New Zealand, we've got the Netherlands, we've got Denmark, and we've got Malaysia. Is that it? Am I missing one? Am I right? Is it 6? I think I'm right.
I think that's it.
I wasn't counting on my hands, but that sounded like 6.
Let's hope it's 6.
Someone's going to be very disappointed.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that was the thing that I knew you guys from the Nox Crew game show. So how did that kind of come about? I want to kind of start there, because that's kind of the the origin story, at least from my perspective, of kind of RASA Studios. So how did you guys kind of get involved with the Nox Crew game show? And then you mentioned that you kind of went off and did your own kind of spin on that. So I'd be curious a little bit about that.
David, do you wanna start this one?
Either me or Oakley could take this one, I guess. So Oakley and I were actually a team within season 1 of the Nox Crew game show, and I'm not going to say how far we got or how well we did. If you want to find out, go watch. But that was a lot of fun, and after that we started as part of the community, kind of like a build server, and we started recreating some of the games from their game show, and it suddenly turned into making our own versions of
pretty
the
sure
games. Well, there you go.
just throw that out there. Pretty sure.
And we made our own versions of the games, and suddenly we found ourselves making a whole fan recreation of it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we did 4 live shows to start with, streamed to Twitch. The first, was it 2 or 3? I can't quite remember, were streamed to Nox Crew's channel. And then we sort of in 2017 officially became RASA Studios. And then the 4th episode was streamed live to our channel. And after that, it was like, well, let's do a whole season. And then we did an entire season that we released on YouTube last year.
Cool. That's awesome. So how did that kind of experience set you up to be a successful like marketplace partner?
Gosh, I mean,
It's a good question.
it is a good question. I think it allowed us to learn a lot about sort of production. It took us 2 years to make season 1 of the Nox Squad game show. And during that time, I think as a team, we really found ourselves as well, which meant that then when we transitioned into doing things for the marketplace, we kind of knew a little bit already about where people were going to fit. So it was just kind of a matter of learning the skills that we needed in order to work in Bedrock.
Because that was all Java, correct?
Yeah.
So how was that learning
So-
process then? To learn Bedrock, I mean.
Jamie, David?
Well, I mean, so the nice thing about us and with Jungle Royale is because we've got so many people who've worked on this map, we've all been able to sort of find our own niche and thing that we liked doing in Bedrock. So I know with me, the way that I did a couple of the games is I went like full on, we're doing this game fully in functions, whereas some people who like didn't use functions as much, they use a lot more command blocks and some stuff with entities. I know Oakley did a lot of like stuff that just doesn't exist in Java. If you want to unmute or not.
So no worries.
So,
yeah,
like, okay.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, so that's what's so interesting to me is seeing a lot of these, very successful like Java creators kind of moving over to kind of Bedrock, and it's cool to kind of see that that process wasn't, well, I can't actually say this for sure. I was going to say it wasn't difficult, but I'm sure it probably was to kind of do that. So, what were some of the maybe for some of the aspiring kind of people wanting to learn Bedrock, like how did you guys kind of go about learning it? Was it just kind of trial and error? Was it kind of figuring things out on your own, YouTube tutorials, or what?
David, do you want to hit this one?
It's tough to say because we didn't really try and step too far out of our reach. In the game show, we'd made games before, so we knew how to make mini games already. So a lot of the structure of how we made those kind of carried over. Where we kind of had to pick things up were with the entities. Things like the sweeper in sweepstakes or the monkeys. or you didn't get to see some of the snakes.
Mhm.
Things like that, we just kind of had to. Some people really just took on, how do we take the entities already in the game and manipulate them and learn about their components and the events and all of that jazz to make something that we want to make to fit into the map. So it was less of a taking on everything at once and more of a, how do we do this very specific task using entities.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I think that's kind of different. There's a different kind of approach to how you go and build maps in Bedrock compared to Java. And I think entities are so much more key in kind of the Bedrock world and map
Oh, for
creation
sure.
than Java. So that makes a lot of sense that you kind of approach it that way.
Yeah, and I think we totally sidelined them to start with as well. Like we just kind of didn't realize how much we could do when we were in the Java build phase. And then when we converted to Bedrock, it was like, oh, we can do this and we can do that. And we really started to explore it a bit more. And I think now that's part of our development as a team on the marketplace, is thinking right at the start, okay, what can we do when we're in Bedrock? What entities can we use? What extra blocks have we got, for example?
Mm-hmm. So before I start
And it
asking
isn't.
kind of, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, we're talking a lot about entities here, but there's a huge amount of other things that you can just sort of splash in there, like the Chelsea. I know you and Oakley sort of tag team the custom particles that we used as well.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
I know, like
that just
the
sort of
waterfall
added
ones
that.
are ones that I noticed immediately that were super cool.
They are very cool.
The waterfall particles were the first particles I'd ever made, so the fact that you like them is just amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, it just adds such an extra, I don't know, level of like polish and immersion when you kind of jump into the map
Yeah.
immediately. So before I get into more kind of specific questions about Jungle Royale and some other things, what did you guys do before Minecraft?
Oh,
Ooh.
going
Wow.
back a long time before that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like 10. I was like 10, I think.
Are
We
we
all
still
met through
before?
Minecraft. so-
Yeah,
What?
we all met through Minecraft. Like the reason that we're all friends is because of this game. Yeah.
I think
Nice.
the answer that I can come up with for before joining the community and stuff is my GCSEs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
It's
cool.
that long ago, like 5 years. So
I always like asking that question because it's always like, this is my favorite question to ask Jig, because he just worked at like a movie theater before. There's an excellent video that I think is somewhere on YouTube that you
Oh
can
yeah.
see his interview about kind of what he did before becoming Minecraft. And he was like, I want to be a game designer. And this was, maybe 2 years before he became a marketplace partner. And now look at that. He's a game designer being a very successful marketplace partner. So I always like asking that question because I think the answers are always very, very different and cool. So
Shows how powerful the game is.
oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And then also, like, not even just from like the getting like employed or making a business or something like that, but also just like the friendships and things like that you can build through the game. All right, so on the map itself, actually one more question from the chat before we kind of get into something more serious. What's your favorite flavor crisps?
Mine's very specific. There's a brand here called Kettle Chips, and it's their sea salt and balsamic vinegar flavor. I just have to push the boat out and be very specific and posh, apparently. But there you go.
whatever the red packet of French fries is, I can't remember what flavour it is, but the red packet.
Plain?
Yeah, probably. No need to push the boat out.
Prawn
Alright.
cocktail.
Oh yeah, I've had those before. That was one of the ones that somebody told me to answer, or told me to try when I was there.
I was going to say exactly what Sporty said in the chat. I was debating between those two, and he said both.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
I would either have to go for plain or barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah, where I'm from, you don't call them crisps, so what?
Chips.
Yeah.
It's potato chips.
I know.
Well,
it's
that
potato
was why
chips.
Foster asked that question pretty well. He could hear the accents and was like, these are crisps to you.
I will take that.
I just don't really care about
yeah.
chips. If it's a chip, I'll eat it.
You see, I'm kind of with you there too. There's a couple ones that I'm just like, I can't eat a ton of them, but I get there. So going back into the kind of the world, what was kind of the inspiration to kind of setting this world up with the jungle theme? I mean, I think there's a lot of different themes you could do for a minigame map, and I think using the jungle theme, it became really, really cool and more immersive. But I'm kind of curious what the kind of inspiration and kind of decision making was around using that theme.
David, do you want to go for this one? We were discussing this earlier.
So the interesting thing. Go on. Yeah.
I have some remarks. So I remember when we started, because we had been doing mini games for Game Show, we wanted to continue doing mini games, but we also wanted to make it so that you could play them either as single player or as multiplayer. So that was the big thing when we were trying to figure out what games we should have in the first place. And having a jungle theme with kind of like a ruined civilization gave a lot of options for those types of games.
That's cool. So keep going if you have more comments on that too. Sorry.
I was just a secondary note on that. It wasn't a set theme to begin with. We just started coming up with some mini game ideas that would work being in single player or multiplayer. And as soon as we had a few that worked in a jungle environment, we were steamrolling. I remember the meeting quite clearly. We were just off on a Google Doc, just writing and inserting inspiration images, and that was it. It was a jungle theme.
That's awesome. Yeah, so then there's 10 mini games in total, and there's a question in chat from Joe. It was actually one that I had on my list too as well to ask you guys. I'm sure you guys designed more than just 10. So what were some of the cool ones that maybe didn't quite make the cut into the final world?
I saw this question and I went digging for our original document where we wrote down all of these ideas that we originally had. And there were so many. One that I really liked that we couldn't figure out how to do mechanically was the idea of like river rapids and kind of having to go down the river in boats and like avoiding different rocks and like escaping sort of like the rocks from getting you. I really like that one, but we just couldn't figure out how that would work well.
Yeah, because I could see like just on that one specifically, then I'll let you talk or let you go, Spuddy. Is like how would you kind of make it continuous? I could see that being really difficult because I was thinking like that's a pretty cool like mini game that you would do for like I was thinking like Mario Party like 1 or 2 or something like that had the river rapid one where you like jump from platform to platform, and like that's a cool thing. But yeah, I could see the difficulty in kind of making that forever river in Minecraft being pretty difficult without like teleporting or just doing sort of weird mechanics.
That's me. What?
Yeah. So what are you gonna say, Spuddy? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, one of the a lot of the mini games we have currently in there, I think, all sort of spanned from other ideas as well. So Ruins Defense at one point was supposed to be all the players had their own tree house that they were supposed to defend. And that ended up we sort of had issues with how do we make it single player, and it sort of ended up being this arena. So yeah, a lot of them ended up sort of starting with one idea and then sort of cascading into what they are today. So
that's cool.
It was also a camp as well. We had a camp defense one. So we had the camp.
Yes, we did, didn't we?
It was
right, yeah.
Yeah, turning it to nighttime and then staying in the camp, and you had to defend the camp from monsters. And we couldn't make the treehouse one work, and the way everything was working out, it made more sense to have the minigame out of the camp, so it became Ruins Defense.
Yeah, I also remember like when we came up with it, it's going to be jungle, and we're getting our mood boards and what it should look like still getting inspiration from like Indiana Jones and like Kara Croft. We're like, oh yeah, they could be running away from a rock, but then we thought, I don't know how to do that.
The big giant boulder rolling down a hill.
So what are each of your favorite? What's your favorite mini game? It's a question to each of you.
My favorite is by far Temple Endeavor. I love the music. I love the concept. I love how different it is in single player and multiplayer. And I love how in multiplayer, when you get people who are really, really like close skill level, how tense it can be. We played a game last week where David and Jamie were neck and neck. I think Jamie was like a tenth of a second away from being eliminated, and he crossed the line into the next section. It was insane.
It was something like two ticks or something like that. When we went back and looked at it, it's like if you get two people who are that close, it can just go forever if you're really good.
That's cool. All right, Dwitty,
David?
you're the next on the list.
I couldn't tell you what my dead set favorite game
Oh,
is because it's like
David.
Don't be boring.
you can't do that.
It's like
Don't be
picking between
boring.
children.
I have
He
a
wants
soft
to say
spot.
Rune's Defense, really.
No, I have a soft spot for Trick Track. That's probably
Trick Track,
the one.
of course.
There you go.
But every game has its fair share, and sometimes you just need to take a splash and deadly dive, or sometimes you really want to get things tense in crushing walls. So it really, each game has its shining moments. But Trick Track I have a soft spot for, so yeah, I'll say that.
Gurgura.
You could just call me Grant. Yeah. So
Okay, I like
was thinking
Gurgura
of
a little
this.
more, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was thinking of this as the others were
seriously.
talking, and I think, well, as a mechanic who's made some of the games, I have a hate-love relationship with some of them. But I'm gonna go with Ruins Defense because my play style, instead of fighting the monsters, I like to run and hide. I just think it's really fun. Everyone's running around, and I'm just sitting there in a corner.
This is really I should have been thinking about this for the last few minutes. So, like, as a mechanic, I worked on a couple of them as well, and I think not necessarily for the gameplay, but for the entire thing around the game, my favorite's Crushing Walls, because that ended up coming together like really quickly. Like we had the idea, and it almost felt like as soon like a couple of hours later we had a working prototype, and it's like, yeah, this really works. And I just also really love the sort of the conflict between this really stressful game where it's like I have to find the spot now, and this really chill music, which is like we have all the time in the world. I just really like that sort of difference between them.
Like zipping, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for a moment, I almost forgot what the games are called because it was so long ago.
Jeremy.
Sorry, no, but my favorite one has to be Excavation, just running away from lava. That's the right one, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
Definitely, well done.
So
You've
long
got
since
it.
I've worked on this.
Mine has to be Canopy Shooters. Sometimes I like to just go in creative mode, and then you don't die, and you can listen to the music forever.
Oh, okay. I did like the
You can
music of
walk
that one quite a
away.
bit.
Fair play.
Sneaky.
I really like it. It's a tie between. Am I allowed a tie? I feel like I'll take a tie.
No.
Boo.
Boo.
All right. If I have to choose one, it would be Falling Debris. I nearly forgot the name. Falling Debris. It's just it goes so quickly, and it's one where the game finishes, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna click the button again. I might as well just it's over and over again.
So basic.
That's me.
I'll also answer the
your
question
other
too.
one there?
Yeah. I was gonna say I think Canopy Shooters is my favorite. Like I think just the idea that it starts with if we have 5 people, there's 4 targets, and so it slowly kind of just like ticks down, and there's some meta that you kind of do there. Like that's a very cool one, so I like that.
That was the last one we came up with.
Fantastic.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah.
And it
We
was one of the
struggled
most
for a while on that
painful
one.
ones to finish.
Yeah.
I remember we were talking about our games, and we hadn't had a bow one yet, and someone suggested it, and we found a spot for it, and we put it in at the end. It was the last game.
So, Jeremy, you mentioned mood boards. So I kind of want to go like hear a little bit kind of about your kind of like artistic process. And I do have to say, I wasn't sure. I wasn't really looking. So if I were to look more, how many did you guys do a lot of custom textures for this map? I know that there's a lot of custom entities and things.
So I pretty much sorry about that. There's like construction happening a block away. So from the get-go, we didn't really have a proper mood board application back then. We just had a Google Doc which we threw images in. So then I went around and I went experimenting with like, oh yeah, what textures I could go for, and I probably have a really old screenshot somewhere, but it was just a bunch of trial and error because at the beginning, like I think dirt was like really orange at one point, and Chelsea's like, I don't like it. So I had to go back and forth so many times experimenting with like, how do I make stuff look good? Yeah. But it was mainly about the texture pack and how to make it look all jungly and I guess wet was the main point. But yeah, we went through like a lot of stuff like using sponges and wet sponges, but then it would get really laggy with wet sponges, so we did some compromising, and ended up using hay bale as grass and stuff. I don't know, it's really interesting.
You really messed up the river with those sponges.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so we actually, like, the grass is made up of 3 different blocks. Like Jeremy said, it was originally, so it was grass and then sponge and wet sponge. And then we world edited all of like the river and stuff. And then every now and again you would update a block and a sponge would soak up the water and it would just ruin the river.
There are parts of that river I still have to just try not to think about.
And eventually we replaced the wet sponge with the hay bales because the particles just caused too much lag. But the fact that we have the 3 different grass blocks was really nice because it sort of creates that variation in the jungle floor, which is subtle, but it's nice to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you mentioned lag. So I'm like, I think that's also one area that was really cool about this map is like I really never noticed any sort of kind of performance hit. Like even while I was streaming, even while I was doing these kind of more intensive mini games. So do you guys have like a pretty rigorous kind of QA and kind of performance testing process, or how do you kind of make sure that you're going to hit those the frame rate counts that you want on this?
Yeah, so our process is we have Nodge who sort of hosts a server for us in Java, and then he hosts the server for us in Bedrock, and we work on the dedicated server system. And then when we felt like the map was at a state where it worked, we would stop sort of testing it on the server, package it up, and everyone would get the chance to sort of test the world on their system. So it got tested on a bunch of different systems. And that kind of, we kept going through that process. We kept finding different issues and trying to figure out what is it that's causing these frame issues. But ultimately, we really, as a team, strive for making everything just feel right. And a big part of that is making sure that the performance is great as well.
Yeah, that makes tons of sense. So but I have one more question, but I wanted to make sure if we got any other questions from chat. So chat, if you have any questions for the amazing people here at RASA, make sure to type those in. But I want to talk about the audio. That's the last thing.
Ooh.
The music, super good. So
Yeah.
who did the music? I know there was a link posted in the chat. If somebody else has that link again, I'd love them to post it again of the SoundCloud link or the Bandcamp link, I think is what it was. But tell me more about the music of this map.
So all of our stuff is made in-house. So the music is made by our lovely musician, Andrew Mister, who has been with us throughout all of it. He did all of the music for the Knoxwood Game Show. He did all the music for Jungle Royale. He is amazing at his job, and I cannot vouch for him enough. He goes through, he looked at all the mini games, and he provided a draft for each and every one. He gets feedback from the team, and he makes that soundtrack perfect. And then he went through a process of making sort of an A track, which is like an intro, and then a loop track, which Jammy then worked with Sporty to implement into the game to make sure that the music would loop and work really nicely. And then Oh, Andrew's in the chat. He is in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stuart
Um,
has a little 100 bits for Go RASA, so
yeah, so Sporty and Jammy would work to get the music into the map, and then Sporty did all of the sound design as well. So things like the little drums that you would hear, the 3, 2, 1 go sound, the birds. The birds are amazing. That was all Sporty, and he went through and painstakingly made sure that every single sound was balanced as well, so that you were not going to be deafened.
mhm.
The voice lines.
Yes, the voice lines as well. It's just amazing the way
Mhm.
that they work.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that was one of the things that was really impressive too. Is like sometimes in maps I'll have to tweak the audio settings while I'm streaming and things like that. But like I was able to just put it right at 40, which is like it sounded good to me, and then like there was no sound that was too loud or too quiet. I was
Yeah.
able to hear the voice, so that was really impressive. So that goes a long way.
I do wish it was always as audio balanced as it is today. When we first imported the music, all of them were at different levels, and as soon as you entered Temple Endeavor, you couldn't hear anything else other than that. And it was.
I remember like
To be
a lot-
fair,
Oh, you go.
in fairness, having it that loud meant you couldn't hear the other people in voice chat trying to distract you because you couldn't hear anything over the music.
Shame I still got eliminated on red every single time.
I remember like
It's nothing to be ashamed of.
That's fine. Sorry. I just remember like each time like when someone would find like one of those monuments and the sound would go, it would be so loud and it would scare me every single time.
Yeah,
And
the
I had a
little jingle
face
that
cam
plays.
on and Jamie would do it every time. I'll be like screaming in my chair. Oh, it was so scary.
I started doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like just in the middle of random conversation, just play it at him.
Yeah.
Good times.
We
But
went
also, like,
through and
oh, you go.
no, we went through and did a sound test as well afterwards just to make sure that everything was perfect. So I think 4 or 5 of us went through each with different volume levels in game to make sure that no matter what volume it was at, you could still hear everything. That's how dedicated we were to the cause.
Other than zero.
Other than zero. No, one of my also favorite moments is when we imported like the what was it, like the voice actors like into the game, and then Chelsea's voice was like super low. It sounded really creepy.
Oh.
Yeah. So how many people on the team did voices?
I can get you the number. Hang on.
Yeah, because I
gonna
definitely
bet
noticed like
7.
when a handful of people like I would find like a new NPC or something like that, the chat would be like, "Oh, that's XYZ or whoever," and like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we had 10 different voice actors, one of which was external, so that's 9 people on the team. Plus, we had a bunch of random NPC lines as well. I can't remember who it was, but someone mentioned hearing the word photosynthesis.
Yeah, it was
just
Greg.
randomly. Yeah, so if you stand next to the NPCs, you'll just hear them talking and just saying
cool.
random lines. So yeah,
That cloud looks like a
plus-
dinosaur.
Are you joining in for game night?
That's super cool. So I'm gonna say one
think
comment
that
from.
was-
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was going to say that was something that was really nice for us as well during the map. Is we would find ourselves enjoying things that we'd made. Like we would, once we'd got all the sounds in for the NPCs, just going around and walking around and hearing like. I think the funniest thing hearing the NPC lines was the behavior was still doing like, and I think it still does the pitch shifting that like you get on Villager. So you suddenly just hear Chelsea's voice about 2 octaves lower, going, "I think I just saw a dinosaur."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
when you find yourself giggling at your own map, you know you're onto something, either really good or really stupid. It's fine.
It would get to the point where I would just leave the map open in the background just to hear the birds. And then I'd close Minecraft and I'd be really confused because these birds were just so calming, and it was great to just listen to them in the background.
There's a lot of just fantastic ambiance in that whole thing.
Yeah.
Stuart is proud for his friends getting this project out there. Thank you for the 1,000 bits, Stuart. And then Mr. Piffers has a little comment saying, "I just want to comment. RASA Studios has such a high density of passionate individuals that frankly I find it stunning. It's rare that you can get such a diverse and uniquely talented group together to accomplish a common goal. Seriously well done, RASA Studios.
Aw, thank you, Peyton. Honestly, we couldn't have done it without the help of the Pathway guys. They've really helped guide us through this entire process. And all of you guys at Mojang as well. It's been really, really good to have all of the support. We had a big old party on Tuesday, and seeing that we got Hero was just so crazy to all of us. It's amazing to see it.
So the
You
last
got me
question
for
from
free,
the...
too.
Oh, go ahead, Helen.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you guys didn't even know it, but you got me for free, because one of the first things I did after I got hired by Rewrite was Pivers was like, "Hey, Helen, come test this map for me by RASA Studios."
Oh yeah, he did tell us.
So the last question from the chat is, what would RASA look for in new game designers / 3D modeling artists?
Ashley.
From Pink Pie.
Pink Pie, we know her.
I figured.
If you want in, you throw me a DM. But
No, you send us a
If you
formal.
want Chelsea yelling at you every single day, then feel free to join.
All right,
then you're going to say you throw me a $5, and I'll make some things happen.
I'll make some things happen.
All right, last question I have, and this is for everybody too as well. So you each have to have your own answer. What was the most exciting thing about working on Jungle Royale?
Can we go bottom to top this time?
Yeah, we'll go
sure,
bottom to top.
Spuddy, you're up. Go.
Because I want to throw Andy in the deep end.
What is this? Just seeing it all come together and everyone sort of go from... Everyone had their own kind of roles when we were making the game show, but everyone sort of fell into their... everyone worked together with their knowledge and brought in external knowledge as well. Like that, people like Oakley have programming knowledge of external stuff programming, and he programmed a tree planting plugin. So most of the trees in Jungle Royale were planted by him by a plugin.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And yeah, so a lot of people, a lot of skills all together. It was a fantastic experience.
That's cool. Oakley.
Mine's the monkeys. We almost didn't have the monkeys, and then one night I spoke to N-Gates, who made most of our models, and I was just like, if you make it, we'll put it in, and there's no way anyone could say no if they see it. And so everyone just woke up one day and there was monkeys in the jungle, and now they're still here.
I love it. Jeremy,
Okay, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
So for me, like at the beginning, I was like the only artist like in Knox Squad Game Show. It was just me, and then I sort of was given too much work. I'm like, hold up, I need a team. So with this project going through, I was able to get a team of artists, like people who've never done modeling before or any of that, and just watching them develop over time has been really awesome. Like Ingate's creating like the monkey models and the heart. I thought it was like really like, wow, people can really, like, when they put their mind to it, create anything that they want, like if you're an artist or not. And yeah, just seeing my art team just develop was really cool.
That's cool. I like that.
I'm gonna say that my favorite thing was probably the social media stuff that happened in the run up to the map coming out. So in particular, 1 week before it came out, so last Tuesday, we released like a 20-second teaser trailer saying, because obviously this is the first thing we've done in the marketplace. So the people who were like, who already followed us on Twitter, we wanted to like try and hype it up and say, hey, we're going to be doing this cool new thing in the marketplace. Come check it out. And then one of our friends, Pink Pie Ashley, who's in the chat, she put together like a 20-minute frame-by-frame analysis of this 20-second teaser trailer. And I was just watching it through when she sent it to us, beaming the entire time. Like, I I was so excited, and it was so much fun to watch it. So yeah,
That's
all
too
that sort
funny.
of stuff.
Can I just say, while we're on the topic of the trailer, a massive shout out to Aaron who edited it and David for helping him. Like,
Yeah, it's
it's
Tractor
so
in the
good.
chat.
Yeah, it's
Tractor, oh, yeah.
Tractor. So good. It's unbelievable, the quality on that.
Yeah, we watched the so every Thursday we do our editorial meeting, and that's when we basically go through literally every single piece of content. We look at the key art, the screenshots. So I have visually seen every single piece of content on the marketplace. So that's it's a lot of work, but we always look at trailers too as well. So we watched your guys' trailer, and everybody was super impressed too of just seeing how cool it was. So goes a long way. I think Jamie,
So
or is it? Oh, sorry.
I think it's going the other way.
Grant.
Yep, Grant.
my turn. Okay, so my favorite thing isn't actually about me, but it's about the team because everyone has their super cool things. Like I can't do the modeling or the music or stuff like that, but seeing the amazing things that the other people did, like I would log on and see this amazing build and I would say like that's really awesome, and then hear the sounds and say that's really awesome, and it just felt super proud to be involved in this group that is so talented.
I can see it. I can see the talent.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of like piggyback off of what others have said. It's really about
The
the
monkeys as well.
milestones. It's the milestones throughout the development process of seeing the different parts of everyone's work come together and become a whole complete experience. So one of the first ones was seeing the jungle when we had all of these builds going on, but then Oakley had developed this tree plugin. So like basically within a week, all those trees were up there, and it suddenly felt like a jungle. And then after we'd made the games and all the sounds were in, the music was in, we could just hook it up to the games we had made and play them, and it felt like we were properly playing them for the first time. And it was to see it all come together that's probably the best part for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, totally. I'm just like, I cannot express how incredibly proud of the team I am. And they know it. I tell them constantly how amazing they all are and how talented they all are. Not long before we started sending it out for testing, we had a big old crunch period of a couple of weeks where we were working like non-stop, every day, just working, getting the mechanics in. Most of open world was put in like a month before it went away for the first tests. It was insane. And the fact that they pulled through and did all of that work, and it's high quality as well. And even after release, we had to release a patch because we found a massive bug, and that patch was out within a day.
Mm-hmm.
The dedication that this team has is absolutely insane, and honestly, they're just such a great group of people to be around.
That's awesome. Well, thank you
Can
all
we force
so.
Stuart to answer my question now he's joined the channel?
I was gonna say I just saw Stuart too. Hey, Stuart, what are you most excited about with Jungle Royale?
Well, in Jungle Royale.
Yeah, that was the question.
I like all the mini games. They're all cool. These guys are incredible. Great friends.
Oh, come on, pick favorite.
Okay, fine. It has to be Temple Endeavor.
Wait.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, thank you very much, all you guys, for hopping on here. That was super cool to kind of hear more about the development process, your team, the history, and everything. So really appreciate y'all hopping on here and doing a little interview. So
Thank you.
I
Thank
know.
you for enjoying the
inviting
match.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank
of course.
you as well
Right.
for sending me that DM all those months ago and asking if we wanted to be a part of this, because honestly, it's been such an incredible journey.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I knew that you guys would crush it just based on what I've seen. So I definitely had to make it work. So anything you want to plug before signing off?
Um,
Oh gosh.
I want to
Shall we have
plug.
the list?
I want to plug Andrew's music because honestly, he deserves every single cent you can give him. He is selling the album for $1. But the joy of Bandcamp is you can kind of pay what you feel it's worth. So go and throw your money at him because he really, truly deserves it.
I agree. Cool. Well, I cannot wait to see what's next from RASA Studios. I'm sure you got plenty in the works after just starting with such a banger like Jungle Royale. So I'll be very curious to see what's next. So Chelsea and the rest of the team, thank you all. I don't remember all of your names. It was like Andy, Grant. I don't know. Spud didn't have a name. Jeremy.
Spud is Andy.
Andy, shit.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's all right.
We're all the same
That's
person.
something that he gets mentioned twice.
Just boost his ego. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks,
Means a
y'all.
lot.
And you all have a fantastic weekend. And yeah, I'm sure I'll be
You
playing some more
too.
RASA
You
content.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very much,
you.
Quinn.
Yeah.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
weekend.
Yeah.
You
See you
too.
later.
Thank you. You
Bye.
too.